The year 1947 marked the end of the British Empire in India. It also marked the beginning of a tumultuous relationship between the newly formed nations of India and Pakistan. The partition of British India, intended as a solution to growing Hindu-Muslim tensions, instead ignited one of the most volatile rivalries the world has ever seen. As the British hastily withdrew, a massive displacement of people occurred. Millions of Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs found themselves on the wrong side of the newly drawn borders. This triggered widespread communal violence, leaving an indelible scar on the collective psyche of both nations. The horrors of partition, with estimates of up to 2 million dead and over 15 million displaced, cast a long shadow. It sowed the seeds of mistrust and animosity that continue to plague India-Pakistan relations to this day. The wounds of 1947 remain open, a grim reminder of the human cost of division and the birth pangs of two nations locked in an enduring rivalry. At the heart of the India-Pakistan rivalry lies the breathtakingly beautiful yet deeply troubled region of Kashmir, a princely state with a Muslim majority population but ruled by a Hindu Maharaja. Kashmir became a point of contention even before the ink had dried on the partition documents. The Maharaja's indecision about joining either dominion ended when tribal forces from Pakistan invaded, prompting him to accede to India in exchange for military assistance. This ignited the first war between the two nascent nations in 1947. A UN-brokered ceasefire in 1949 divided Kashmir, leaving India in control of the majority of the region, including the fertile Kashmir Valley. Pakistan gained control of Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. The line of control, a de facto border, became a symbol of the unresolved dispute and a constant flashpoint for conflict. The Kashmir issue is not just about territory. It is about the aspirations of the Kashmiri people, the national identities of India and Pakistan, and the legacy of history. Until a just and equitable solution is found, the mountains of Kashmir will continue to cast a shadow over any prospect of lasting peace. The India-Pakistan rivalry is tragically punctuated by a history of armed conflicts. Following the First War over Kashmir in 1947-48, the two nations clashed again in 1965, once more over the disputed territory. The conflict ended in a stalemate, but tensions remained high. The most decisive conflict came in 1971. This time, the battleground was not Kashmir, but East Pakistan, geographically separated from West Pakistan and home to a Bengali-speaking majority. India's intervention in the Bangladesh Liberation War led to a crushing defeat for Pakistan and the birth of Bangladesh as an independent nation. Beyond these major wars, smaller-scale skirmishes and military engagements have continued to plague the line of control in Kashmir. The Kargil War of 1999, sparked by Pakistani incursions into Indian-controlled territory, demonstrated the fragility of peace and the ever-present danger of escalation. These conflicts have resulted in significant loss of life, economic hardship, and a pervasive atmosphere of fear and mistrust. The legacy of these wars continues to shape the perceptions and policies of both nations. In 1998, The world watched with bated breath as India and Pakistan conducted a series of nuclear tests, shattering the global non-proliferation regime. The blasts, a dangerous display of military might, instantly transformed the subcontinent into a potential nuclear flashpoint. The acquisition of nuclear weapons by both countries has introduced a terrifying new dimension to the rivalry. The possibility of a nuclear exchange, however remote, hangs over South Asia like a sword of Damocles. The international community reacted with alarm, imposing sanctions, and urging both countries to engage in dialogue and arms control measures. While some progress has been made in terms of establishing communication channels and confidence-building measures, the risk of accidental or intentional escalation remains a serious concern. The nuclearization of India and Pakistan serves as a stark reminder of the global dangers of proliferation. It underscores the urgent need for international cooperation and diplomacy to prevent a catastrophic conflict in a region already fraught with tension. Beyond the battlefield, proxy conflicts and the scourge of terrorism. While direct military confrontations between India and Pakistan have been relatively limited in recent decades, the rivalry has found new avenues of expression in the form of proxy conflicts and terrorism. Both countries have been accused of supporting militant groups operating within each other's territories. These groups, often motivated by religious extremism or separatist ideologies, have carried out numerous attacks, claiming the lives of innocent civilians and deepening the cycle of violence and mistrust. The 2008 Mumbai attacks, in which Pakistani-based terrorists targeted civilians across India's financial capital, killing over 170 people, brought the two countries to the brink of war. The attacks highlighted the transnational nature of terrorism and the urgent need for cooperation in combating this shared threat. Addressing the root causes of terrorism, including poverty, lack of education, and political marginalization, is crucial. However, achieving this requires a level of trust and collaboration that has proven elusive in the context of the India-Pakistan rivalry. A modern flashpoint, the revocation of Article 370. In 2019, the Indian government unilaterally revoked Article 370 of its constitution, which granted special status to Jammu and Kashmir. The move, which stripped the region of its autonomy and divided it into two federally administered territories, was met with outrage in Pakistan. Pakistan condemned the move as illegal and a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. The international community expressed concern over the potential for further instability and human rights violations in the already volatile region. The revocation of Article 370 marked a significant escalation in the India-Pakistan rivalry. It exacerbated existing tensions and pushed the two nuclear-armed neighbors further apart. The move also raised questions about the future of Kashmir and the prospects for a peaceful resolution to the long-standing dispute. The international community has called for restraint and dialogue to prevent further escalation. However, the situation remains tense, with both sides hardening their positions and the future of Kashmir hanging precariously in the balance. Even amidst the deep-seated tensions, there are occasional flickers of hope. There have been moments where both nations have shown a willingness to engage in dialogue. People-to-people initiatives, cultural exchanges, and back-channel diplomacy have sometimes offered a glimmer of optimism. These efforts, though sporadic, highlight the potential for reconciliation and the shared desire for peace among many on both sides. However, these flickers often get overshadowed by larger geopolitical dynamics and entrenched mistrust. Despite the moments of hope, numerous obstacles stand in the way of reconciliation. Historical grievances, territorial disputes, and nationalistic fervor continue to fuel animosity. Political leaders on both sides often use the conflict to rally domestic support, making genuine dialogue difficult. Additionally, external influences and the strategic interests of other global powers complicate the situation further. The presence of militant groups and the risk of terrorism add another layer of complexity, making the path to peace fraught with challenges. Yesterday, Gap 3. Amidst the political and military tensions, there exists a lesser-known but deeply significant aspect of the India-Pakistan relationship: cultural connections and people-to-people initiatives. Despite the borders, the two nations share a rich tapestry of cultural heritage, language, music, and traditions. Artists, musicians, writers, and filmmakers from both sides have often collaborated, transcending boundaries through their work. Gap 2. In recent years, there have been numerous efforts to foster understanding and goodwill at the grassroots level. Educational exchanges, sports diplomacy, and cross-border festivals have brought people together, showcasing the commonalities that bind them rather than the differences that divide. Gap 2. One notable example is the Kartarpur Corridor, a visa-free border crossing allowing Indian Sikhs to visit one of their holiest sites in Pakistan. This initiative has been hailed as a step towards building trust and goodwill between the two nations. Similarly, peace initiatives led by civil society groups and non-governmental organizations aim to create a dialogue that political leaders often fail to achieve. Gap 2. These cultural and people-to-people connections provide a glimmer of hope in an otherwise turbulent relationship. They remind us that beyond the headlines and political rhetoric, there are human stories of friendship, shared history, and mutual respect. While they may not resolve the larger geopolitical issues, they play a crucial role in keeping the flame of hope alive. Can India and Pakistan find lasting peace? This question has loomed large for decades. While the road ahead is undeniably challenging, the possibility of peace cannot be entirely dismissed. Both nations must recognize the immense benefits of cooperation and the heavy toll of continued conflict. International mediation, sustained dialogue, and mutual concessions could pave the way for a more stable and prosperous South Asia. Ultimately, the future rests in the hands of the leaders and people of both countries, who must choose between the path of reconciliation and the perpetuation of hostility. Thank you for watching. We value your opinion, so please leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more videos.